I had just gotten out of high school, and I met Keshava, old Keshava Das Karandar's brother, through another friend, his old friend, and he spoke to me. We got together on the yoga topic one night, and we stayed up all night speaking about Krishna consciousness, and by the morning time I was a vegetarian and was chanting Hare Krishna and had a big stack of books and chanted for some time, and he encouraged me to chant more. So I started chanting 16 rounds, and then I was able to actually read Bhagavad-gita. It kind of turned on when I started chanting 16 rounds. I couldn't read it before. I was just foreign. So it turned on, and it just answered all my questions, and I just felt like I had to find if there was anybody who was living this Bhagavad-gita, because it was the only thing that ever made any sense, and it made the most sense, and I was, totally inspired by it. And then we went back to my house and sold all my stuff, and I bought a new car, new used car, and we drove to LA to see Prabhupada, specifically because he was getting ready to come back from, I think, Fiji and Hawaii and then Los Angeles. And, just being with all the devotees, as Srila Prabhupada would come down out of his room to go on the walk, everybody would greet him, and it was so wonderful. So one morning right after that, after we greeted Prabhupada and walked him, to his car, just watched him walk to the car where he got in for the morning walk. I don't know why we were standing by my car, but it was right next to where, it was that little parking lot that was right off the temple there, heading towards towards Venice Boulevard. All of a sudden, Brahmananda Maharaj comes running out of the temple. He had missed the walk. So he comes out and he's looking around, and he sees me and Keshava standing over by my little Ford Cortina station wagon. "Is this your car?" And I said, "Yes, it is." He says, "Let's go." So he jumps in the front seat, and Keshava jumps in the back, and I drove it. And we're racing down the street, and it's pretty early at that time of the day, and I don't know what day it was, but he goes, "Don't stop at the lights, just hurry up, we got to catch up to Prabhupada." So I'm running all the lights, and I don't remember which beach we went to. I don't know, because back then the parking lots may have been different or something, if it was Venice or if it was a little further north, I don't know. Maybe it was Santa Monica. And so anyway, he runs out there, and I've listened to the morning walk several times. Prabhupada was wondering, where's Brahmananda? So Brahmananda comes running up, and Prabhupada says, "So, you're late today." And Brahmananda says, "Well, you left a little early today." And everybody says, "Yeah, Prabhupada, you left 10 minutes early." Prabhupada said, "No, your watch is slow." They were joking, it was really funny. Very beautiful, humorous pastime there with Brahmananda. So one morning in Mayapur, I was, chanting rounds before Mangalarti. I don't know what time it was, maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. And I was just circumambulating I think I was even walking around it the wrong way. Now that I think about it, I think I was walking around the temple. Normally we circumambulate clockwise. I think I was going counterclockwise. And so I chant my japa a little bit loud. So I'm walking around the corner right near Prabhupada's room, and all of a sudden Hari Sariprabhu comes over to the balcony real enthusiastically. "Prabhu!" I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "You're chanting too loud, and it's disturbing Prabhupada's translations." And I was like, "Oh no." Devastated. I was like, "Oh, I didn't come there to offend Prabhupada." And I was like, "Oh my God, what am I doing? Moron, way to chant so loud there." And so then at Mangalartik time, the Bhavananda Prabhu, who was like one of the managers there at the time, Bhavananda Maharaj then, he's making this announcement, about how we should be in the Dham. And so he said there's some devotees were saw holding hands, in front of the Dham there, and you shouldn't have any intimate contact. And somebody else was chanting so loud that he was disturbing Prabhupada's translation, so now my offense became public, So I'm really in anxiety, I'm like, "Oh God, I don't want to offend Prabhupada, now I've offended him somehow." And I felt really bad, and I was like, "I don't know what to do," and I was totally stressed out, So I finished the morning program, and then Guru Puja and greeting the deities come, and so Prabhupada's giving class finally after everything. So Prabhupada had his little, his route. He would come down the stairs and they'd be singing that beautiful Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You know, when Prabhupada came down, that beautiful tune the Guru Coolies were singing, then he would come. So he'd always walk out that way after class. So I was standing in that area in the back of all the devotees because I didn't want to fall asleep during his class, because I fell asleep once and I was like, man, I'm not going to do that again. So I was just standing up, and Srila Prabhupada was giving a beautiful Bhagavatam class on the 7th canto and talking about Prahlad Maharaj, and about the whole purport was about the holy name. And so he's giving the class, and I'm standing, you know, I'm in the back, so I don't know how many feet it was, at least 35 feet. I'm thinking, you know, through all the devotees that were there. It was like, how many devotees were there then? There was thousands of devotees there. So I'm standing back over by the steps, and he's looking around the room, and when he got to my eyes, his glance went right into my eyes from that distance, and I just felt like he could, first of all, see everything, but on top of that, it just cleansed all the anxiety out of my consciousness, and completely, I just felt like, okay, you're not offensive, it's all right, you're forgiven, and everything, you know. It was like kind of like this whole beautiful transcendental like wave of his just looking, you know. There's so much potency of him just looking at you, and I felt so purified and enlivened from just him saying that. But what he was saying was, when he stopped and he was talking, he said, do not think that this is a material sound vibration. It is Purnam, complete and spiritual. I mean, I heard something different that was on the tape even. I heard something, one or two words that were a little bit different than when I listened to the lecture. But it was basically that it's spiritual, perfect, and complete, the holy name. And then, you know, I was like, wow, totally satisfied, and appreciated his kindness, that there was no real offense there. The purity was just so deep and so inconceivable. It was just, that inspired me a lot. The purity inspired me a lot about Prabhupada, and the feeling that you got from being in Prabhupada's presence. I mean, the purity was a big thing. It was like the spiritual, it was instantaneous spiritual realization being with Prabhupada. I felt like, in the kirtans in particular there in Mayapur, they were very, very enthusiastic, and Prabhupada encouraged everybody. Sometimes he would move his fingers and make everybody dance, but everybody naturally, it seemed to me, was very, very enthusiastically chanting and dancing. And that also, I got a tremendous amount of spiritual realization being there in front of Prabhupada, just chanting. I felt like I wasn't the body, and I felt like I was just kind of floating and dancing through the room with no material body at all. It wasn't like an adrenaline rush. It was Prabhupada's potency just blasting me out of Maya and just giving me some kind of real spiritual perception of myself. And right after I took second initiation also, I had a similar experience. I worshipped Gaurnitai on our bus, and after offering Mangal Artik, and when I sat down to chant my rounds and prayed to Prabhupada, all of a sudden everything just disappeared except me sitting there, and I felt like I was in a chamber with the holy name, just me and the holy name alone, and chanting and chanting, and I was so inspired. It was amazing. So Srila Prabhupada was able to, you know, give realized, instantaneous, you know, spiritual life to the devotees. And several of my friends have confirmed that with the experiences they had, where, you know, something similar happened. One devotee where they were in a place where they couldn't offer obeisances to Prabhupada. They were in Berkeley. And so my friend, Caitanya Aswabhavi, he saw Prabhupada looking out his window in this room, so he turned around and he very sincerely offered pranams to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada also offered pranams. He picked up his cane and offered pranams to Caitanya. And as soon as that happened, Caitanya had a similar experience with the holy name. He said he got all this amazing purity and transcendental realization of the holy name. And so Srila Prabhupada could easily bless the devotees with realization, and time again you've recorded them all and heard them all. It's an amazing phenomenon that Srila Prabhupada can easily give us this. So why should we think that we're not going to become fully realized if we're not sincere in serving Prabhupada? So that was my faith in that sense, is like I didn't need to go somewhere else or hear from somebody else or do any of that kind of stuff, because I already felt so many times on book distribution, so much realization there, and so many amazing experiences that Prabhupada gave. So I was always like, he can give instantaneous God consciousness, spiritual realization. So that was kind of the thing that's kept me going all the time. Of course, now hearing, now I listen to Prabhupada's classes all the time and hear, and his preaching is so phenomenal. Karuna Prachu